A. Cates,
John A. Katzmatidis,
Robert Michael Colfers,
Don Jerome Kauf Jr.,
Hideo Kawauchi,
Edward T. Keene,
Richard M. Keene,
Lisa Yvonne Carney Griffin,
Carol Ann Kiesler,
Barbara A. Keating,
Paul Hanlon Keating,
Leo Russell Keene III,
Brenda Kegler,
Chandler Raymond Keller,
Joseph John Keller,
Peter R. Kellerman,
Joseph P. Collette,
Frederick H. Kelly III,
James Joseph Kelly,
Joseph A. Kelly,
Maurice P. Kelly,
Richard John Kelly Jr.,
Thomas Michael Kelly,
Thomas Richard Kelly,
Thomas W. Kelly,
Timothy Colin Kelly,
William Hill Kelly Jr.,
Robert Clinton Kennedy,
and my uncle Peter Tague Milano. We keep your memory and spirit alive with stories of you. We love and miss you every day.
and my father, Police Officer Paul Talty. We love and miss you always.
Thomas J. Kennedy,
Yvonne E. Kennedy,
John Richard Keohane,
Ralph Francis Kershaw,
Ronald T. Kerwin,
Howard L. Kestenbaum,
Douglas D. Ketchum,
Ruth Ellen Kettler,
Boris Califf,
Norma Cruz Khan,
Sarah Khan,
Taimur Faraz Khan,
Rajesh Handawal,
Saleh Ku,
Michael Vernon Kiefer,
Satoshi Kakuchihara,
Andrew Jaehoon Kim,
Lawrence Don Kim,
Mary Jo Kimmelman,
Heinrich Kimmig,
Karen Kincaid,
Amy R. King,
Andrew M. King,
Lucille Teresa King,
Robert King, Jr.,
Lisa King Johnson,
Brian K. Kinney,
Takeshi Kinoshita,
Chris Michael Kirby,
Robert Kirkpatrick,
Howard Barry Kirschbaum,
Glenn Davis Kerwin,
Helen Crossan Kittle,
Richard Joseph Clares,
Peter Anton Klein,
Alan David Kleinberg,
Karen Joyce Klitzman,
Ronald Philip Klepfer,
Stephen A. Knapp,
Eugenie Niazev,
and my uncle, Andrew Fisher. I have been to this ceremony every year of my life, and though I have never met my uncle, it doesn't really feel that way. His memory and his life are still alive for the people who love him, including myself. I have grown up with him right by my side. Andrew made such a huge impact on many people's lives, and I am evidence that even after his death, he still has the same effect. Uncle Andrew, words cannot describe how much everyone loves you and misses you, and I look forward to for us finally meeting in heaven.
and my uncle and namesake, Brian Christopher Novotny.
Andrew James Knox,
Thomas Patrick Knox,
Rebecca Lee Kobari,
Deborah A. Kobus,
Gary Edward Keckler,
Frank J. Cosner,
Ryan Kohart,
Vanessa Lane Shibalo Kopak,
Irina Kopakova,
Suzanne Rose Kontratenko,
Abdullah Konen,
Bon Siok Ku,
Dorota Kopitsko,
Scott Michael Capico,
Bohan George Kostich,
Danielle Kasulis,
David P. Kovalchin,
John J. Kren,
William Edward Krukowski,
Ludmila Casito,
Toshia Kuge,
Shekhar Kumar,
Kenneth Bruce Kumpel,
Frederick Koo Jr.,
Patricia A. Kuras,
Naka Kushatani,
Thomas Joseph Kuvakis,
Victor Kwarkai,
Raymond Kui Fei Kwok,
Angela Reed Kite,
Andrew Lacourte,
Carol Ann LaPlante,
Jeffrey G. Latouche,
Catherine L. Labori,
Amarnath Lachman,
Ganesh K. Ladkett,
James Patrick Ladley,
Joseph A. LaFouse,
Jeanette Louise LaFond Minicano,
David James LaForge,
and my nephew, Brooke David Rosenbaum. Your entire family loves and misses you very much. Your mother left us last week. I suspect by now you've found each other. You will remain in our hearts and our minds forever.
and my brother, Brian Thomas Cummins, a larger-than-life member of our family, his network of friends, and his profession. We miss you, and you're awesome.
Michael Patrick Lafort,
Alan Charles LaFrance,
Juan Mendez Lafuente,
Neil Kwong Hua Lei,
Vincent Anthony Lieta,
William David Lake,
Franco Lalama,
Chow Kwan Lam,
Michael S. Lamana,
Stephen Lamontia,
Amy Hope Lamonsoff,
Robert T. Lane,
Brendan Mark Lang,
Roseanne P. Lang,
Vanessa Lang Langer,
Mary Lou Langley,
Peter J. Langone,
Thomas Michael Langone,
Michelle Bernadette Lanza,
Ruth Sheila Lapin,
Ingeborg A.D. Larrabee,
Robin Blair Larkey,
Judith Camilla LaRoque,
Christopher Randall Larrabee,
Hamadou S. Larry,
Scott Larson,
John Adam Larson,
Natalie Janice Lasden,
Gary Edward Lasco,
Nicholas Craig Lassman,
Paul Lazinski,
Charles A. Lorenzen,
Stephen James Loria,
Maria Lavache,
Dennis Francis Lavelle,
Janine Mary Laverde,
Anna A. Laverty,
Stephen Long,
Robert A. Lawrence Jr.,
Nathaniel Lawson,
and my wife, Arlene Ava Freed. We will always remember your smile, and we love you forever.
and my beloved son, Joshua Todd Aaron. Josh, you are in my thoughts and heart always. I miss you every day, and I love you.
David W. Lachek,
Eugene Gabrielle Lazar,
James Patrick Leahy,
Joseph Gerard Levy,
Neil J. Levy,
Robert G. LeBlanc,
Leon Labor,
Kenneth Charles Leyday,
Alan J. Liederman,
Elena F. Ledesma,
Alexis Leduc,
Daniel John Lee,
David S. Lee,
Dong Chul Lee,
Gary H. Lee,
Hayoon Jun Lee,
Juanita Lee,
Catherine Blair Lee,
Linda C. Lee,
Lorraine Mary Green Lee,
Myung Woo Lee,
Richard Y.C. Lee,
Stuart Soon Jin Lee,
Yang Der Lee,
Stephen Paul Lefkowitz,
Adriana Legro,
Edward Joseph Lehman,
Eric Lerfeld,
David R. Leisman,
David Prudencio Lamagne,
Joseph Anthony Lenahan,
John Joseph Lennon Jr.,
John Robinson Lenoir,
Jorge Luis Leon Sr.,
Matthew G. Leonard,
Michael Lepore,
Charles A. Lesperance,
Jeff Levine,
John Dennis Levi,
Alicia Karen Levin,
and my uncle and godfather, Sergeant Timothy Allen Roy. I miss the family vacations to Lake George and the silly things you did to make me smile. I still think of you and feel like you give me signs that you are watching over me. Until we meet again, may God keep you in his palms. I love you.
and my uncle and Flight 93 passenger William Joseph Cashman. Billy, you were the hero in our family long before September 11th, 2001. We love you.
Neil David Levin.
Robert Levine.
Robert Michael Levine.
Shai Levenhar.
Daniel M. Lewin.
Adam J. Lewis.
Jennifer Lewis.
Kenneth E. Lewis.
Margaret Susan Lewis.
Yi Wei Liang.
Orasri Liang Thanasarn.
Daniel F. Libretti.
Ralph Michael Lichardi.
Edward Lichtshine.
Samantha L. Lightburn Allen.
Stephen Barry Lilienthal.
Carlos R. Lilo.
Craig Damian Lelor.
Arnold Arboleda Lim.
Daria Lin.
Wei Rong Lin.
Nikki L. Lindo.
Thomas V. Linehan Jr.
Robert Thomas Linnane.
Alan Patrick Linton Jr.
Diane Teresa Lipari.
Kenneth P. Lira Arevelo.
Francisco Alberto Liriano.
Lorraine Lisi.
Paul Listen.
Vincent M. Lito.
Ming Hao Lu.
Nancy Liz.
Harold Lizcano.
Martin Lazul.
George A. Lanes.
Elizabeth C. Logler.
Catherine Lisa Laguidice.
Jérôme Robert Lohez.
Michael William Lomax.
And my father, Frank Joseph Doyle. In the past 15 years, hundreds of family friends have come to compete in your honor. Team Frank has participated in athletic events all around the world. Your spirit continues to guide us, and I hope I make you proud. I miss you, and I love you to the moon and back, Papa. Until we meet again.
And Thomas Edward Hines, my husband and father of our 14-and-a-half-year-old daughter. We love you and miss you so much, Tom. You're forever in our hearts.
Stephen V. Long.
Laura Maria Longing.
Salvatore P. Lopez.
Daniel Lopez.
George Lopez.
Luis Manuel Lopez.
Maclovio Lopez Jr.
Manuel L. Lopez.
Joseph Lostrangio.
Chet Deck Louis.
Stuart Side Lewis.
Joseph Lovero.
Sarah Elizabeth Lowe.
Jenny Sue Kong Lo Wong.
Michael W. Lowe.
Gary W. Loger.
John P. Lazowski.
Charles Peter Lucania.
Edward Hobbs Luckett II.
Mark Gavin Ludvigsen.
Lee Charles Ludwig.
Sean Thomas Lugano.
Daniel Lugo.
Marie Lucas.
William Lum Jr.
Michael P. London.
Christopher E. Lunder.
Anthony Luparello.
Gary Frederick Lutnick.
Linda Ann Luzacone.
Alexander Ligon.
Cece Lyles.
Farrell Peter Lynch.
James Francis Lynch.
James T. Lynch Jr.
Louise A. Lynch.
Michael Cameron Lynch.
Michael Francis Lynch.
Michael Francis Lynch.
Richard D. Lynch Jr.
And my brother, Rescue 1 firefighter Kenneth Joseph Marino. Kenny, we humbly thank you for your heroism on the morning of September 11, 2001. You're an inspiration to us. We love you. We miss you every day.
And my father, Patrick Sean Murphy. Dad, I remember the days of you carrying me around on your shoulders, and now I'm here. You would be so proud of me and Sean. We live our lives like you did every day, with love, humor, and generosity. We love and miss you so much.
Robert Henry Lynch Jr.
Sean P. Lynch.
Sean Patrick Lynch.
Terrence M. Lynch.
Michael J. Lyons.
Monica N. Lyons.
Naheeman Lyons IV.
Patrick John Lyons.
Robert Francis Mace.
Marion McFarlane.
Jan Makiewski.
Susan A. Mackey.
William McCoe.
Catherine Fairfax McRae.
Richard Blaine Madden.
Simon Madison.
Noel C. Myers.
Jenian Matfeo.
Joseph Maffeo.
J. Robert Magazine.
Brian McGee.
Charles W. McGee.
Joseph V. Magatee.
Ronald Magnuson.
Daniel L. Mayer.
Thomas A. Mayon.
William J. Mahoney.
Joseph Daniel Mayo.
Linda C. Mayer Grayling.
Takashi Makimoto.
Abdu Ali Malahi.
Deborah I. Maldonado.
Myrna T. Maldonado Augusto.
Alfred Russo Maller.
Gregory James Malone.
Edward Francis Maloney III.
Joseph E. Maloney.
Jean Edward Malloy.
Christian H. Maltby.
Francesco Miguel Mancini.
and my husband, Brian Murphy. Thank you, New York, for continuing to honor the victims of 9/11 and for the privilege of reading their names. Brian, I have thought about you every day for the last 15 years. I am very grateful for our wonderful time together and will never forget all that we shared. Your spirit lives on in your beautiful daughters, your family, and your many friends. We love you.
And to my father, Joseph Amatuccio. Daddy, I never got a chance to see your face, hear your voice, or hold your hand. Life wasn't fair, and it took you away before I was able to meet you. But that doesn't stop me from loving you, and it never will. It's hard to move on, but you're the angel that keeps me strong. I love you and I forever will.
Joseph Mangano.
Sarah Elizabeth Manley.
Deborah M. Manetta.
Marion Victoria Manning.
Terrence John Manning.
James Maunis.
Alfred Gaio Padre Joseph Martian.
Joseph Ross Marchbanks Jr.
Laura A. Marchese.
Hilda Marson.
Peter Edward Mardikian.
Edward Joseph Martovich.
Charles Joseph Maggiata.
Louis Neil Mariani.
Kenneth Joseph Marino.
Lester V. Marino.
Vita Marino.
Kevin D. Marlowe.
Jose Juan Marrero.
John Daniel Marshall.
Shelly A. Marshall.
James Martello.
Michael A. Marty.
Karen Ann Martin.
Peter C. Martin.
Teresa M. Martin.
William J. Martin, Jr.
Brian E. Martinu.
Betsy Martinez.
Edward J. Martinez.
Jose Angel Martinez, Jr.
Robert Gabriel Martinez.
Waleska Martinez.
Lizzie D. Martinez Calderon.
Paul Richard Martini.
Anne Marie Martino Kramer.
Joseph A. Mascali.
Bernard Mascarenas.
Stephen Frank Macy.
Ada L. Masonacker.
And my husband, David S. Lee. David, your mom misses you terribly. You didn't get a chance to meet your nieces, Courtney Alexis, and the nephew, Casey. You missed the birth of our son. His name is Ryan, and he is in many ways just like you. We miss you, we love you, and you will always live on in our hearts.
And my father, Jaish Shantilal Shah. I love you and miss you. Go Packers.
Nicholas George Massa.
Patricia Ann Cimaroli Massari.
Michael Mazzaroli.
Philip William Mastrandrea Jr.
Rudy Mastrosinque.
Joseph Mathai.
Charles William Mathers.
William A. Matheson.
Marcelo Matriciano.
Margaret Elaine Mattick.
Dean E. Matson.
Robert D. Matson.
Walter A. Matuza, Jr.
Timothy J. Maud.
Charles J. Morrow.
Jill Morer Campbell.
Nancy T. Morrow.
Charles A. Morrow, Jr.
Renee A. May.
Dorothy Morrow.
Keithroy Marcellus Maynard.
Robert J. Maxwell.
Kathy N. Mazza.
Tyrone May.
Jennifer Lynn Mazzata.
Robert J. Mayo.
James Joseph McAllery, Jr.
Edward Mazzella, Jr.
Patricia Ann McEnany.
Karya Mumbaya.
John Kevin McAvoy.
Brian Gerard McAleese.
Brendan F. McCabe.
Colin R. MacArthur.
Thomas Joseph McCann.
Kenneth M. McBrayer.
Kevin M. McCarthy.
Michael McCabe. Justin McCarthy.
And my uncle, Peter Burton Hansen, my aunt, Sue Kim Hansen, and my cousin, Christine Lee Hansen. Thank you for watching over me and keeping me out of trouble for the past 15 years. I love you and miss you every day.
Michael Desmond McCarthy. And my brother, Richard Avery Arano. We miss you, Richard. We love you. We wish you were here.
Robert G. McCarthy.
Stanley McCaskill.
Katie Marie McCloskey.
Juliana Valentine McCourt.
Ruth Magdalene McCourt.
Charles Austin McCran.
Tony L. F. McDay.
Matthew T. McDermott.
Joseph P. McDonald.
Brian Grady McDonald.
Michael P. McDonald.
John F. McDowell, Jr.
Eamon J. McEnany.
John Thomas McCarolyn, Jr.
Daniel Francis McGinley.
Mark Ryan McGinley.
Lieutenant William E. McGinn, FDNY, Squad 18.
Thomas Henry McGinnis.
Michael Gregory McGinty.
Ann Walsh McGovern.
Scott Martin McGovern.
William J. McGovern.
Stacy Senes McGowan.
Francis Noel McGuinn.
Thomas F. McGinnis, Jr.
Patrick J. McGuire.
Thomas M. McHale.
Keith David McKeffey.
Ann M. McHugh.
Dennis J. McHugh III.
Firefighter Dennis P. McHugh, FDNY Ladder 13.
Michael Edward McHugh, Jr.
Robert G. McIlvain.
Donald James McIntyre.
Stephanie Marie McKenna.
Molly L. McKenzie.
Barry J. McKeon.
Evelyn C. McKennedy.
Darrell Laren McKinney.
George Patrick McLaughlin, Jr.
And my brother, FDNY firefighter Brian Edward Sweeney, Rescue Company Number 1, working in his old company of Squad 288. You have two wonderful nieces now, Finley and Ava, and they will both always know you as Uncle Brian.
And my dear cousin and beloved friend, nephew, uncle, brother, and son, Richard H. Stewart, Jr. Over the past 15 years, there's a day that goes by that we don't honor your memory. You were taken from us far too soon and too quick. We never had the opportunity to say thank you, so I'm taking that moment now. So with peace and love, Thank you, Rich. You're deeply missed, and we love you very much.
Robert C. McLaughlin, Jr.
Gavin McMahon.
Robert D. McMahon.
Edmund A. McNally.
Daniel Walker McNeil.
Walter Arthur McNeil.
Christine Sheila McNulty.
Sean Peter McNulty.
Robert William McPadden.
Terrence A. McShane.
Timothy Patrick McSweeney.
Martin E. McWilliams.
Rocco A. McDaglia.
Abigail Medina.
Anna Iris Medina.
Damian Meehan.
William J. Meehan, Jr.
Alok Kumar Makita.
Raymond Meisenheimer.
Manuel Emilio Mejia.
Escadar Melaku.
Antonio Melendez.
Mary P. Melendez.
Christopher D. Mello.
Yelena Melichenko.
Stuart Todd Meltzer.
Diarelia Giovanna Mena.
Dora Marie Menchaca.
Charles R. Mendez.
Lizette Mendoza.
Siobhan Alicia Mentes.
Wolfgang Peter Menzel.
Steve John Mercado.
Wilfredo Mercado.
Wesley Mercer.
Ralph Joseph Mercurio.
Alan Harvey Merdinger.
George L. Marino.
Yamel Josefina Marino.
George Mercuris.
And my stepfather, Luis Clodoaldo Revilla Mier. I miss you and love you, and your family loves you and misses you. De parte de mi madre, María Nancy Revilla, te extraña, te quiere mucho, te manda besos. Por favor, siempre guíala y no le asustes.
And my sister, Lorraine Green Lee. We still miss you every day, but you live on through the beautiful memories that we were lucky to make with you. Mommy's heart still aches for you and Timmy. We love you so much. And for my cousin, firefighter Nicholas Chiafalo, who we miss and love so much. Nick, you would be so proud of your beautiful new granddaughter, Annabelle.
Deborah Merrick.
Raymond Joseph Metz III.
Jill Ann Metzler.
David Robert Meyer.
Narelle H. Maya.
William Edward Michiuli.
Martin Paul Mickelstein.
Patricia E. Mickley.
Ronald D. Malam.
Peter Teague Milano.
Gregory Milanowitz.
Lukasz Tomasz Molesky.
Sharon Christina Milan.
Corey Peter Miller.
Greg J. Miller.
Douglas C. Miller.
Henry Alfred Miller, Jr.
Joel Miller.
Michael Matthew Miller.
Nicole Carol Miller.
Philip D. Miller.
Robert Allen Miller.
Robert Cromwell Miller, Jr.
Benny Millman.
Charles M. Mills, Jr.
Ronald Keith Milstein.
Robert J. Manara.
William George Minardi.
Louis Joseph Minervino.
Thomas Mingione.
Wilbert Morale.
Dominic N. Merkovich.
Rajesh Arjan Mapuri.
Joseph D. Mistruli.
Susan J. Niskowicz.
Paul Thomas Mitchell.
Richard P. Machio.
Jeffrey Peter Mladnick.
Frank V. Machia Sr.
Louis Joseph Modafferi.
And
our brother John Thomas Resta. And our sister-in-law Sylvia Sampio Resta.
And their
unborn child. John and Sylvia, it's been 15 years since we last saw you. Sometimes it feels like forever, but most days it feels like yesterday since we lost you. It never gets easier. As Cole Swindell sings, you should be here. They say you're in a better place now, and I would be too if I could see your face. You are loved and missed by all, more than words could ever express. Keep sending us swans and dimes. We love you all, the three of you, to the moon and back.
We love you and miss you.
Boy Mohammed.
Dennis Mojica.
Manuel D. Mojica, Jr.
Claybear Rolando Molina.
Manuel de Jesus Molina.
Carl Molinaro.
Justin John Molisani, Jr.
Brian Patrick Monaghan.
Franklin Monahan.
John Gerard Monahan.
Kristen Lee Montanaro.
Craig Montano.
Michael G. Montesi.
Carlos Alberto Montoya.
Antonio de Jesus Montoya Valdez.
Cheryl Ann Monyak.
Thomas Carlo Moody.
Sharon Moore.
Krishna V. Murthy.
Laura Lee DeFazio Morabito.
Abner Morales.
Carlos Manuel Morales.
Paula E. Morales.
Sonia Mercedes Morales Pupalo.
Gerard P. Moran, Jr.
John Christopher Moran.
John Michael Moran.
Kathleen Moran.
Stephen P. Morello.
George William Morell.
Yvette Nicole Moreno.
Vincent S. Morello.
Richard J. Morgan.
Dorothy Morgan.
Sine Mori.
Nancy Morgenstern.
Leonel Geronimo Morocho Morocho.
Blanca Robertina Morocho Morocho. Dennis Gerard Maroney.
And my father, James J. Strain, Jr.
And my father, Todd Douglas Polino, and my aunt, Kayleen Elizabeth Pizzuti.
Lynn Irene Morris.
Odessa V. Morris.
Seth Allen Morris.
Steve Morris.
Christopher Martell Morrison.
Ferdinand V. Morone.
William David Moxell.
Brian A. Moss.
Marco Matroni.
Cynthia Modis Wilson.
Yuri A. Muchinsky.
Jude Joseph Musa.
Peter Mutos,
Damian O'Neill Mowat,
Teddington H. Moy,
Christopher Michael Mazzillo,
Stephen Vincent Mulderry,
Richard T. Muldowney Jr.,
Michael D. Mullen,
Dennis Michael Mulligan,
Peter James Mulligan,
Michael Joseph Mullen,
James Donald Munhall,
Nancy Muniz,
Francisco Hilario Munoz,
Carlos Mario Munoz,
Teresa Munson,
Robert Michael Morak,
Cesar Augusto Murillo,
Mark A. Morello,
Brian Joseph Murphy,
Charles Anthony Murphy,
Christopher W. Murphy,
Edward Charles Murphy,
James F. Murphy IV,
James Thomas Murphy,
Kevin James Murphy,
Patrick Jude Murphy,
Patrick Sean Murphy,
Raymond E. Murphy,
and my beloved father, Richard Barry Ross, and dearest friend, Stacy Lee Sanders. Your legacies of kindness, extraordinary compassion, boundless generosity, laughter, and happy tears are enduring and continue to inspire us. Though we did not get enough time with you, we treasure what we had and are so grateful that we had it. May both of your memories be for a blessing, especially for peace.
and my grandfather, Richard Barry Ross. I'm sad I never got to meet you, but I know you're in a better place now, and I hope you're sailing up there with the Traveler on big, fluffy, happy cloud oceans.
Robert Eddie Murphy Jr.
John Joseph Murray.
John Joseph Murray.
Susan D. Murray.
Valerie Victoria Murray.
Richard Todd Myrie.
Louis J. Nackey II.
Robert B. Nagel.
Mildred Rose Naiman.
Takuya Nakamura.
Alexander John Robert Napier.
Frank Joseph Naples III.
John Philip Napolitano.
Catherine Ann Nardella.
Mario Nardone Jr.
Monica K. Narula.
Sean M. Nassane.
Nardine Na.
Karen Susan Navarro.
Joseph M. Navis.
Francis Joseph Nazario.
Glenroy I. Neblet.
Raymond Marcus Neblet.
Jerome O. Ned.
Lawrence F. Nadell.
Luke G. Nee.
Pete Negron.
Lori N. Nera.
Ann N. Nelson.
David William Nelson.
Ginger Risco Nelson.
James A. Nelson.
Michelle Ann Nelson.
Gerard Terrence Nevins.
Oscar Francis Nesbitt.
Gerard Terrence Nevins.
Renee Techerot Newell.
Christopher C. Newton.
Christopher Newton Carter.
Nancy Ewan Go.
And my father, Port Authority Police Lieutenant Robert Seary. We miss you every day. 15 years have gone by way quick, and we love you. We think about you always. Please continue to guide us from above, and thank you for being an American hero. I love you.
And my uncle, Pedro Francisco Checo. We miss you so much, Theo. We all love you too.
Kong Naguk Nagoan.
Jody Tepedino Nichilo.
Kathleen Ann Nikosha.
Martin Stewart Niederer.
Alphonse Joseph Niedenmeyer.
Frank John Needstadt Jr.
Gloria Nieves.
Juan Nieves Jr.
Troy Edward Nilsson.
Paul Nimbley.
John Ballantine Niven.
Catherine McGarry Nowak.
Curtis Terrence Noel.
Michael A. Noet.
Daniel R. Nolan.
Robert Walter Noonan.
Jacqueline June Norton.
Robert Grant Norton.
Daniela Rosalia Notaro.
Brian Christopher Novotny.
Soachi Numata.
Brian Nunez.
Jose Nunez.
Jeffrey Roger Nussbaum.
James A. Oakley.
Dennis Patrick Oberg.
James P. O'Brien Jr.
Michael P. O'Brien.
Daniel O'Callahan.
Timothy Michael O'Brien.
Diana J. O'Connor.
Keith Kevin O'Connor.
Richard J. O'Connor.
Amy O'Doherty.
Marnie Pont O'Doherty.
Douglas E. Elschlager.
Takashi Ogawa.
Albert Ogletree.
And for my uncle, Stephen Gerard Hoffman, identical twin to my godfather, Gregory Hoffman. Your memory lives on in the stories I hear from all of my relatives. If you could put in a good word, I'm applying to med school, so tell the big man to look out for me. We love you. Rest easy until we meet again.
And my father, Port Authority Police Officer Walwyn Wellington Stewart, Jr. Daddy, Mom and I love and miss you very much and hope to see you again one day in heaven.
Philip Paul Ognebene.
John A. Ogonowski.
James Andrew O'Grady.
Joseph J. Ogren.
Thomas G. O'Hagan.
Samuel Otis.
Patrick J. O'Keefe.
FDNY Captain William O'Keefe.
Gerald Michael Olcott.
Gerald Thomas O'Leary.
Christine Ann Olander.
Linda Mary Oliva.
Edward K. Oliver.
Leah Elizabeth Oliver.
Eric Taub Olson.
Jeffrey James Olson.
Barbara K. Olson.
Maureen Lyons Olson.
Stephen John Olson.
Matthew Timothy O'Mahony.
Tashihiro Onda.
Seamus L. O'Neill.
John P. O'Neill.
Peter J. O'Neill, Jr.
Sean Gordon Corbett O'Neill.
Betty Ann Ong.
Michael C. Opperman.
Christopher T. Orgilowitz.
Margaret Quinn Orlowski.
Virginia Ann Ormiston.
Ruben S. Ornendo.
Kevin M. O'Rourke.
Ronald Orsini.
Peter Keith Ortali.
Juan Ortego Campos.
Jane Marie Orth.
Alexander Ortiz.
David Ortiz.
Emilio Pete Ortiz.
Pablo Ortiz.
And my uncle, Robert Thomas Lenane. You are missed more than words can describe. Give everyone in heaven a hug from us. Keep an eye out for all of us down here. Even though you're not with me, and if you were, I know you'll be by my side every day of my life.
And my cousin, Terrence DeCazani. I was just a baby 15 years ago, but you've always been a part of my life. You are loved and missed by our family every single day. Aunt Tracy and Uncle Marty hold you close in their hearts. And my cousin, Peter Gansey. You are a hero to our family and to New York City. Thank you.
Paul Ortiz, Jr. Sonia Ortiz. Masaru Osei. Patrick J. O'Shea. Robert William O'Shea. Elsie Carolina Osorio Oliva. James R. Ostrowski. Timothy Franklin O'Sullivan. Jason Douglas Oswald. Michael John Otten. Isidro D. Ottenwalder. Michael Shun U. Todd Joseph Oida,
Jesus Ovales,
Peter J. Owens Jr.,
Arianas Oyola,
Angel M. Pabon Jr.,
Israel Pabon Jr.,
Roland Pacheco,
Michael Benjamin Packer,
Diana B. Padro,
Deepa Pakala,
Jeffrey Matthew Palazzo,
Thomas Palazzo,
Richard A. Palazzolo,
Oreo Joseph Palmer,
Frank Anthony Palumbo,
Alan N. Palumbo,
Christopher Matthew Panattiere,
Dominique Lisa Pandolfo,
Jonas Martin Panic,
Paul J. Pansini,
John M. Paolillo,
Edward Joseph Papa,
Salvatore T. Papasso,
James Nicholas Papa George,
Marie Papalardo,
Vinod Kumar Parakat,
Vijay Shankar Paramasote,
Nitin Ramesh Parandkar,
and my brother-in-law, Steve Policino. Steve, 15 years, and we just plain miss you. There's just no other way to say it. 15 years, and the miss is always the same size, the same shape, the same feeling. 15 years, and my mind still talks to you. My heart still looks for you. My soul knows you are at peace. 15 years, and I've learned there is no other side of grief. Grief is not something that you complete, but rather something you endure. You do not finish it. Steve, 15 years, and we have learned to accept the way things are. 9/11 taught us that what happens in this world is bigger than us. We have learned to greet the good and the bad of this world with open arms. That lesson was strongly tested in 2013 when we were faced with the loss of your wife, my sister Jane. She left us to be with you. Knowing you were there with open arms to greet her made it easier for us to accept this loss. The family thanks you for that. For now, we continue one day at a time, greeting the good with the bad while waiting for the next rainbow to appear. Rainbows always come. We know they do. They come in the sizes of Nicholas, Rocco, your grandchildren, Liev, your great-grandnephew. This tiny new generation brings us hope. Rainbows come in the shape of the upcoming weddings of our nephew Philip and your daughter Celeste. And the rainbows are certainly here in all shapes and sizes on this beautiful plaza. Steve and Jane, continue to enjoy the happily ever after you deserve. Please keep watching over us and giving us those signs of hope. You are always in our hearts until we meet again. God bless you all.
And our beloved son, Honor and Paige's beloved brother, Wells Remy Crowther, the man in the red bandana. Wells, you saved many lives on September 11th. Your example of courage and selfless care for others continues to inspire and to bring good into this world. Thank you, Wells, for the gift of your final hour.
Adai Parbu,
James Wendell Parham,
Deborah Marie Paris,
George Paris,
Guy Young Park,
Philip Lacey Parker,
Michael Elaine Parks,
Robert E. Parks, Jr.,
Hashmukh C. Pamor,
Robert Parrow,
Diane Marie Parsons,
Leobardo Lopez Pascual,
Michael J. Pascumo, Jr.,
Gerard Hughes Haskins,
Horace Robert Passananthi,
Suzanne H. Passaro,
Avnish Ramanbai Patel,
Dipti Patel,
Manish Patel,
Stephen Bennett Patterson,
James Matthew Patrick,
Manuel D. Petrosino,
Bernard E. Patterson,
George Clifford Patterson, Jr.,
Sierra Marie Patty,
Robert E. Pattison,
James Robert Paul,
Patrice Paz,
Victor Hugo Paz,
Stacy Lynn Peak,
Richard Allen Perlman,
Darrell V. Parasol, Jr.,
Thomas Nicholas Pecorelli,
Thomas Pedicini,
Todd Douglas Polino,
Mike Adrian Pelletier,
Anthony G. Peluso,
Angel R. Pina,
Robert Henninger,
Richard Al Penny,
and to my brother, Patrick Joseph Busey, we got it right. Your faith, our faith, and your dedication from above. Susan has done a phenomenal job raising Sloan and Will. With the support and love of the Doherty, Busey, and Whalen families, I still hear you, brother.
and my brother, John Anthony Candela.
We love you. We miss you. We'll see you again.
Thank you, Doc.
Salvatore F. Pepe.
Carl Allen B. Peralta.
Robert David Peraza.
John A. Picanti, Jr.
Alejo Perez.
Angel Perez.
Angela Susan Perez.
Anthony Perez.
Ivan Antonio Perez.
Nancy E. Perez.
Barry Berenson Perkins.
Joseph John Perencino.
Edward J. Perata.
Imelda H. Perry.
Glenn C. Perry Sr.
John William Perry.
Franklin Allen Persha.
Danny Pesci.
Michael John Pescherine.
Davin N. Peterson.
Donald Arthur Peterson.
Jean Hoadley Peterson.
William Russell Peterson.
Mark James Petroselli.
Philip Scott Petty.
Glenn Karen Pettit.
Dominic A. Pazzulo.
Kayleen Elizabeth Pizzuti.
Kevin J. Pfeiffer.
Tu An Pham.
Kenneth John Balin Sr.
Snee Ann Phillip.
Eugenia McCann Yancieri.
Ludwig John Picaro.
Matthew Picerno.
Joseph Opick.
Christopher J. Pickford.
Dennis J. Pierce.
Bernard Petronico.
Nicholas P. Petrante.
And my father is Merle Antonio Salcedo, who is deeply loved and missed every single day.
And to my brother, Lieutenant Jeffrey P. Walls, Ladder 9, FDNY. 15 years ago, Jeff, you and so many others were taken away from us way too soon and without any warning. We became one family, one country, and slowly, moment by moment, we began to move forward. Jeff, you are missed more than you know, but just remember one thing. Time passes by quickly, but you're forever in our hearts.
Theodoros Pigas.
Susan Elizabeth Pinto.
Joseph Piscaldo.
Christopher Todd Pittman.
Joshua Michael Piver.
Robert R. Plaisir III.
Zandra F. Plaisir.
Joseph Plumetallo.
John M. Pocher.
William Howard Paulman.
Lawrence Michael Polash.
Thomas H. Polimus.
Steve Policino.
Susan M. Polio.
Darren H. Pantel.
Joshua Ayusa Poptine.
Giovanna Porras.
Anthony Portillo.
James Edward Potatori.
Daphne Paletsis.
Richard N. Polis.
Stephen Emmanuel Polis.
Brandon Jerome Powell.
Scott Allen Powell.
Sean Edward Powell.
Antonio Dorsey Pratt.
Gregory M. Petriozzi,
Wanda Ivalise Prince,
Vincent A. Princiota,
Kevin M. Pryor,
Everett Martin Proctor III,
Carrie Beth Brogan,
David Lee Purim,
Richard A. Prunty,
John Foster Puckett,
Robert David Polagisi,
Edward F. Pullis,
Patricia Ann Puma,
Jack D. Punches,
Hemaneth Kumar Putar,
and my brother Stephen Francis Schlag,
and my uncle Francis John Sidoka.
Joseph J. Picior Jr.,
Edward R. Pycon,
Christopher Quackenbush,
Lars Peter Quelbin,
Lincoln Quapp,
Beth Ann Quigley,
Patrick J. Quigley IV,
Michael T. Quilty,
James Francis Quinn,
Ricardo J. Quinn,
Carol Millicent Robele,
Christopher Peter Anthony Racaniello,
Leonard J. Regalia,
Eugene J. Raggio,
Laura Marie Raganisi Snick,
Michael Paul Ragusa,
Peter Frank Ramundi,
Harry A. Rains,
Lisa J. Rains,
Etisham Raja,
Valsa Raju,
Edward J. Rawl,
Lucas Rambusek,
Maria Ramirez,
Harry Ramos,
Vishnu Ramsarup,
Deborah A. Ramsauer,
Lorenzo E. Ramsey,
Alfred Todd Renke,
Adam David Rand,
Jonathan C. Randall,
Shreyas S. Ranganath,
Ann T. Ransom,
Faina Rappaport,
Rhonda Sue Rasmussen,
Robert A. Rasmussen,
Armenia Rasul,
R. Mark Rasweiler,
Marcia D. Ratchford,
David Allen James Rathke,
and my cousin, Fire Captain Brian Christopher Hickey. We'll see you on the other side, Brian.
and my aunt Lillian Caceres. Titi, we miss you every single day, and I know you would be so proud of the woman Joanna has become. Last year, she became a wife, and 5 fabulous months ago, she became a mother of a beautiful little girl named after you. And I know she will grow up being just as caring, loving, and kind-hearted as you were.
William Ralph Robb,
Gerard F. Rousey,
Alexei Razuvayev,
Gregory Rader,
Sarah Ann Redheffer,
Michelle Marie Reed,
Judith Ann Reese,
Donald J. Regan,
Robert M. Regan,
Thomas Michael Regan,
Christian Michael Otto Regenhard,
Howard Reich,
Greg Reedy,
James Brian Riley,
Kevin O. Riley,
Timothy E. Riley,
Joseph Reyna Jr.,
Thomas Barnes Reinig,
Frank Bennett Reisman,
Joshua Scott Rice.
Karen Renda.
John Armando Rayo.
Richard Cyril Riscorla.
John Thomas Resta.
Sylvia Sanpio Resta.
Martha M. Reski.
David E. Reddick.
Todd H. Rubin.
Luis Clodoaldo Ravila Mir.
Eduviges Reyes Jr.
Bruce Albert Reynolds.
John Frederick Rhodes.
Francis Saverio Riccardelli.
Rudolph N. Riccio.
Anne Marie Riccoboni.
David Harlow Rice.
Eileen Mary Rice.
Kenneth Frederick Rice III.
Cecilia E. Richard.
Vernon Allard Allen Richard.
And my uncle, a proud Canadian, Kenneth William Baznicki. Most people tell me today that I was too young to remember the day. Most people tell me I was probably even too young to remember the man my uncle once was. But the reality is, I was a 5-year-old boy who was pulled out of school to sit on the edge of his couch and watch the same horror that the entire world watched that day. I sat there, like millions of you, in shock, confused of why anyone would do this. And my wide eyes turned to tears when I was told who wouldn't be coming home because he was stuck on the 106th floor of the North Tower. Regardless of how old I was, that day will always be a nightmare burnt deep into my mind. Most people will always assume that people of my time won't remember. Well, I remember. And as for my Uncle Ken, I have more memories than one could expect a 5-year-old to have with his uncle. He has been someone I look up to. He is the standard for who I strive to be someday. A testament that hard work leads to great success, and a man who his whole family, certainly his nephew, idolizes. Let it be known, Uncle Ken, you will never know the impact you have on my life.
And my husband, Elvin Romero. There is a beautiful quote by the poet Khalil Gibran that says, "When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight." Elvin, you were our heart and our joy. You brought a joy into this world that left a lasting impression on everyone you met. Gabby, Alex, and I were truly blessed to be yours. We love you, we miss you, and we will never forget.
Claude Daniel Richards.
Gregory David Richards.
Michael Richards.
Vanessa Ernsha Richards.
Jimmy Riches.
Alan J. Richmond.
John M. Rigo.
Frederick Charles Rimley III.
Rose Mary Riso.
Moises N. Rivas.
Joseph R. Ravelli Jr.
Carmen Alicia Rivera.
Isaias Rivera.
Juan William Rivera.
Linda Evelise Rivera.
David E. Rivers.
Joseph R. Reverso.
Paul V. Rizza.
John Frank Rizzo.
Stephen Louis Roche.
Joseph Roberto.
Leo Arthur Roberts.
Michael E. Roberts.
Michael Edward Roberts.
Donald Walter Robertson Jr.
Jeffrey Robinson.
Michelle Lee Jean Robotham.
Donald Arthur Robson.
Antonio A. Rocha.
Raymond James Rocha.
Laura Rockefeller.
John Michael Rodak.
Antonio Jose Rodriguez.
Anthony Rodriguez.
Carmen Milagros Rodriguez.
Gregory E. Rodriguez.
Marcia A. Rodriguez.
Myra Valdez Rodriguez.
Richard Rodriguez.
David Bartolo Rodriguez Vargas.
And my uncle and godfather, Donald Richard Gavigan Jr. I really wish I got the chance to meet you. And I know you were waiting for Nana when she went to heaven this March. We love you both.
And my uncle, John Gerard Farrell. Mom told me when I was younger that I reminded her of you, and I couldn't be prouder. We miss you.
Matthew Rogan.
Jean Destrehan Roger.
Carly Rogers.
Scott William Roner.
Keith Michael Roma.
Joseph M. Romagnolo.
Efrain Romero Sr.
Elvin Romero.
James A. Romito.
Sean Paul Rooney.
Eric Thomas Ropato.
Aida Rosario.
Angela Rosario.
Mark H. Rosen.
Brooke David Rosenbaum.
Linda Rosenbaum.
Cheryl Lynn Rosenbaum.
Lloyd Daniel Rosenberg.
Mark Lewis Rosenberg.
Andrew Ira Rosenblum.
Joshua M. Rosenblum.
Joshua Allen Rosenthal.
Richard David Rosenthal.
Philip Martin Rosenzweig.
Daniel Rossetti.
Richard Barry Ross.
Norman S. Rosenau.
Nicholas P. Rosomando.
Michael Craig Rothberg.
Donna Marie Rothenberg.
Mark David Rothenberg.
James Michael Rue.
Nicholas Charles Alexander Rowe.
Edward V. Rowenhorst.
Judy Roulette.
Timothy Allen Roy Sr.
Paul G. Ruback.
Ronald J. Rubin.
Joanne Rubino.
David M. Ruddle.
And my cousin, Andrew Desperito, Lieutenant FDNY, Engine 1, formerly of the NYPD. I spoke to one of his guys, the last one to see him. He said that got everybody out, had to go back in for one more woman. And that's what firemen do. So God bless the FDNY, the NYPD, because we really needed you on a day like that. And thank you to New York City for making a place like this that we can remember and people can come from all over to see what happened on this day 15 years ago. And for all my family that can't bring it to themselves to come down here, Andrew, we love you, a true hero.
And to my two equally lovely and beautiful first cousins, Judy Hazel Santillan Fernandez and Maria Teresa Concepcion Santillan. We love and miss you so much. It's been 15 years, yet the pain and sorrow is still felt by your family, relatives, and friends. Most especially, your parents from Marita's side, Expedito and Esther Santillan, your brothers Victor and Raymond Santillan, and from Judy's side, parents Cirillo and Corazon Fernandez, your brother Richard Fernandez, and your sister Emma Fernandez Reagan. We love and miss you so much, and we always continue to pray for you. And please continue to be our guardian angels. Give us the strength to live each day, living the past, tragic past behind us. Thank you for the fond memories, and moments shared will always be embedded in us. We all miss you dearly. Kisses to everyone, to you both, and to all our dear ones in heaven. God bless us all.
Bart Joseph Ruggieri.
Susan A. Ruggiero.
Adam Keith Rualter.
Gilbert Ruiz.
Robert E. Russell,
Stephen P. Russell,
Stephen Harris Rusin,
Michael Thomas Russo Sr.,
Wayne Allen Russo,
William R. Ruth,
Edward Ryan,
John Joseph Ryan,
Jonathan Stephen Ryan,
Matthew L. Ryan,
Tatiana Rishova,
Christina Sunga Ryuk,
Thierry Sada,
Jason Elazar Sabag,
Thomas E. Sabella,
Scott H. Saber,
Charles E. Sabin Sr.,
Joseph Francis Sacerdote,
Jessica Lee Sachs,
Francis John Sadocha,
Jude Elias Safi,
Brock Joel Safronoff,
Edward Saya,
John Patrick Salomon,
Marjorie C. Salomon,
Hernando Rafael Salas,
Juan G. Salas,
Esmerlin Antonio Salceda,
John Pepe Salerno,
Rama Sali,
Richard L. Salinardi Jr.,
Wayne John Solomon,
Nolbert Solomon,
Catherine Patricia Salter,
Frank G. Salvatierra,
Paul Richard Salvio,
and my father, Japhet Jesse Ayi. Daddy, you lived your 49 years with honor, glorious purpose, and never-ending care. Your family, your friends, your community miss you tremendously. We keep our precious memories with you in our hearts forever. I love you, Daddy.
and my uncle, Christopher Edward Fawnin. We love you, we miss you, and you will be in our hearts always.
Samuel Robert Salvo Jr.
Carlos Alberto Samaniego.
John P. Sammartino.
James Kenneth Samuel Jr.
Michael San Philip.
Hugo M. Sane.
Alba Cynthias Sanfrance Sanchez.
Jacqueline Patrice Sanchez.
Jesus Sanchez.
Raymond Sanchez.
Eric M. San.
Stacy Leigh Sanders.
Herman S. Sandler.
Jim Sands Jr.
Eileen J. Santiago.
Kirsten Reese Santiago.
Maria Teresa Concepcion Santiano.
Susan Gail Santo.
Christopher A. Santora.
John August Santor.
Mario L. Santoro.
Rafael Umberto Santos.
Rufino C.F. Santos III.
Victor J. Saraceni.
Callion K. Sarkar.
Chappelle Renee Stewart Sarker.
Paul F. Sar.
Deepika Kumar Satalore.
Gregory Thomas Saucedo.
Susan M. Sauer.
Anthony Sabas.
Vladimir Savinkin.
John Michael Bararbo.
David M. Scales.
Robert Louis Scandal.
Michelle Scarpita.
Dennis Sarkas.
John Albert Shart.
John G. Shar.
Fred C. Sheffield Jr.
Angela Suzanne Scheinberg.
Scott Mitchell Schertzer.
Sean Scheichel.
Stephen Francis Schlag.
Robert A. Schlegel.
John Schlissel.
Karen Heller Schmidt.
Ian Schneider.
Thomas G. Scholas.
Frank G. Scott Jr.
Gerard Patrick Schrang.
Jeffrey H. Schreier.
John T. Schreier.
Susan Lee Schuler.
Edward W. Schrunk.
Mark Evan Schermeyer.
John Bunkart Schwartz.
Mark Schwartz.
Adriana Victoria Schwaberda.
Raphael Skorka.
And my Aunt Margaret. Infinite love for family, friends, and life.
And for my late husband, Mark Kaleo, my late brother-in-law, Stephen J. Kaleo, and my brother, Thomas Pedicini. 15 years later, the love you three shared while you were alive still lives on in all of us. You are never forgotten, always cherished, and forever remain a part of us. Mark, Stephen, and Tommy, please continue to give us your strength and hope. In return, we will use the rest of our lives to honor yours, remembering to remain kind, compassionate, and loving to each other and the world. Nanny and Nana and Granddad, we recently said goodbye to you, but you both, all three of you, said hello to your boys. Thank you.
Janice M. Scott.
Randolph Scott.
Christopher J. Scudder.
Arthur Warren Scullin.
Michael H. Seaman.
Margaret M. Seeliger.
Anthony Segarra.
Carlos Segarra.
Jason M. Sexer.
Matthew Carmen Salito.
Michael L. Selves.
Howard Selwyn.
Larry John Simcoe.
Arturo Angelo Sereno.
Frankie Serrano.
Marion H. Serva.
Elena Cesanova.
Adele Christine Sessa.
Sita Namala Senarin.
Karen Lynn Seymour.
Davis Greer Cessna Jr.
Thomas Joseph Scroy.
Jayesh Centennial Shah.
Khalid M. Shahid.
Muhammad Shahjahan.
Gary Shamay.
Muhammad Shahjahan.
Dan F. Schnauer.
Earl Richard Shanahan.
Catherine Ann Shatzoff.
Neil Shastri.
Jeffrey James Shaw.
Barbara Shaw.
Daniel James Shea.
Robert John Shea Jr.
Kathleen Shearer.
Joseph Patrick Shea.
Linda June Sheehan.
Robert M. Scherer.
Antoinette M. Sherman.
Hagay Sheffy.
Atsushi Shiratori.
John Anthony Sherry.
Mark Schulman.
Thomas Joseph Schubert.
Alan Abraham Schwartzstein.
C. Wong Shum.
Joanna Sigmund.
Clarence Shelley Siegel Schwartz.
Gregory Sikorsky.
Diane T. Signer.
David Silver.
Stephen Gerard Siller.
Nasima H. Simji.
Craig A. Silverstein.
Diane M. Simmons.
Bruce Edward Simmons.
George W. Simmons.
Donald D. Simmons.
Kenneth Allen Simon.
Arthur Simon, and my sister and best friend, Larissa Salon Taylor. She would want me to thank the 9/11 Memorial, but also all my family and friends who supported the scholarship in her name, as well as supported her oldest daughter, Tatiana, who is now married, as well as her two daughters, Imani and Cyan, who are now in college. Thank you to everyone.
And my uncle and godfather, Bernard Petronico, we miss you, and we think about you every single day, and we love you so much.
Michael J. Simon.
Paul Joseph Simon.
Marianne LaQuarrie Simone.
Barry Simowitz.
Jane Louise Simpkin.
Jeff Lyle Simpson.
Cheryl D. Sincock.
Kamala Day Kami Singh.
Roshan Ramesh Singh.
Thomas E. Sinton III.
Peter A. Syracuse.
Meryl F. Sisopoulos.
Joseph Michael Sisolak.
John P. Scala.
Francis Joseph Skidmore, Jr.
Toyena Corliss Skinner.
Paul Albert Skurzipek.
Christopher Paul Slattery.
Vincent Robert Slavin.
Robert F. Slywack.
Paul Kenneth Sloan.
Stanley S. Smagala, Jr.
Wendy L. Small.
Greg H. Smallwood.
Catherine T. Smith.
Daniel Lawrence Smith.
Gary F. Smith.
George Eric Smith.
Heather Lee Smith.
James Gregory Smith.
Jeffrey R. Smith.
Joyce Patricia Smith.
Carl T. Smith Sr.
Kevin Joseph Smith.
Leon Smith Jr.
Maura Ann Smith.
Monica Rodriguez Smith.
Rosemary A. Smith.
Bonnie Shahade Smithwick.
Rochelle Monique Snell.
Christine Ann Snyder.
Diane Bullis Snyder.
Leonard J. Snyder, Jr.
Astrid Elizabeth Sohan.
Sushil S. Solanki.
Ruben Solaris.
Naomi Leah Solomon.
Daniel W. Song.
Marie Ray Sopper.
Michael Charles Sort Essay.
Fabian Soto.
Timothy Patrick Sulas.
Gregory Thomas Spagnoletti.
Donald F. Spanato, Jr.
Thomas Sparaccio.
John Anthony Spataro.
Robert W. Spear, Jr.
Robert Spiceman.
Maynard S. Spence, Jr.
George Edward Spencer III.
And my brother, Peter K. Ortelli. We miss you so much, and we honor you, try to honor you every day by modeling your kindness, your generosity, your openness, and your love. God bless America, and thank you to all who have given so much so that we can have this country that we call home. PKO 10.
And my Aunt Danielle Casulas. Dear Danielle, I never had the chance to meet you, but I've heard so many wonderful things about you and how alike we are, such as having multiple alarms to wake us up in the morning, as my dad mentioned to me a few times. We also have our passion to run in common. One day I want to run the New York Marathon in your memory, but until that day comes, every run I go on leading up to the marathon, I will think of you, and I will carry you in my heart forever. You are loved, you are missed, and you will never be forgotten.
Robert Andrew Spencer. Mary Rubina Sperando.
Frank Spinelli.
William E. Spitz.
Joseph Patrick Spohr, Jr.
Klaus Johannes Sprachkamp.
Saranya Saran.
Fitzroy St. Rose.
Michael F. Stabile.
Lawrence T. Stack.
Timothy M. Stackpole.
Richard James Stadelberger.
Eric Adam Stallman.
Gregory Stike.
Alexandru Livio Stan.
Corina Stan.
Mary Dominica Stanley.
Anthony Starita.
Jeffrey Stark.
Derek James Statskevicius.
Patricia J. Stats.
Craig William Staub.
William V. Steckman.
Eric Thomas Steen.
William R. Steiner.
Alexander Robbins Steinman.
Edna L. Stevens.
Andrew Sturgiopoulos.
Andrew J. Stern.
Norma Lang Sturl.
Martha Jane Stevens.
Michael James Stewart.
Richard H. Stewart, Jr.
Sanford M. Stoller.
Douglas Joel Stone.
Lonnie J. Stone.
Jimmy Neville Story.
Timothy Stout.
Thomas Strata.
James J. Strain, Jr.
Edward W. Straub.
George J. Stroud, Jr.
Edward Thomas Strauss.
Stephen R. Strauss.
Larry L. Strickland.
Stephen F. Strobert.
Walwyn Wellington Stewart, Jr.
Benjamin Suarez.
David Scott Suarez.
Ramon Suarez.
Zeno Xavier Suarez Ramirez.
Yoichi Sumiyama Sugiyama.
William Christopher Sugar.
Daniel Thomas Suhr.
David Mark Sullins.
Christopher P. Sullivan.
Patrick Sullivan.
Thomas G. Sullivan.
Hilario Soriano Sumaya, Jr.
James Joseph Suazo.
And my beautiful mother, Barbara P. Walsh. Mom, I miss you so much. Our holidays and our vacations will never be the same. But as we would want, we carried on. Daddy, Jennifer, Jimmy, Jeffrey, miss you terribly. And you have been so proud of all of your grandchildren. Alexandra, Jillian, Kira, Evan, Lauren, Brooke, Cameron, and Lindsay. They would make you so proud. We know that you're watching from up above, Mom. Give us the strength, and please continue to give us the signs. We love you. God bless you, and God bless America.
And my nephew, Port Authority Police Officer Christopher Charles Amoroso. Chris, raw emotions rise to the surface every year when we meet here. For the memory of what happened that day will never, ever be forgotten and will never leave us. Just know that while we continue to mourn your loss, we also make sure to celebrate your life and your smile. On behalf of your sister, your mom and dad, all your relatives, and your great friends, we love you, we miss you, and we will never forget you. You are our hero.
Colleen M. Sapinski.
Robert Sutcliffe.
Celine Sutter.
Claudia Suzette Sutton.
John Francis Sweeney.
Christine M. Swearson.
Brian David Sweeney.
Madeline Amy Sweeney. Kenneth J. Swenson. Thomas Swift.
Thomas F. Swift.
Derek Ogilvy Sword.
Kevin Thomas Sozik.
Gina Stutberg.
Norbert P. Sukowski.
Harry Tabak.
Joanne C. Tabik.
Norma C. Tadai.
Michael Tadonio.
Keishiro Takahashi.
Keiji Takahashi.
Phyllis Gail Talbot.
Robert R. Telhami.
John Talagnani.
Sean Patrick Talon.
Paul Talty.
Marita Tam.
Rachel Tamares.
Hector Rogan Tamayo.
Michael Andrew Tamuccio.
Kenrichio Tanaki.
Rondell Cherie Tankard.
Michael Anthony Tanner.
Dennis Gerard Taramina Jr.
Kenneth Joseph Tarantino.
Alan Taraseritz.
Michael C. Taro.
Ronald Tartaro.
Deborah Talba Laurello.
Daryl Anthony Taylor.
Donnie Brooks Taylor.
Hilda E. Taylor.
Kip P. Taylor.
Leonard E. Taylor.
Larissa Salone Taylor.
Michael Morgan Taylor.
Sandra C. Taylor.
Sandra Dawn Teague.
Carl W. Teepee.
Paul A. Techmeyer.
Yeshashavant Morshwal Tempe.
Anthony Tempesta.
Dorothy Pearl Temple.
Stanley L. Temple.
David Gustav Peter Tangolin.
Brian John Terenzi.
Lisa Marie Terry.
Gumati Thackerdine.
Hashad Sham Date.
Michael Theodoridis.
And my cousin Tommy Joseph Kavakis, who was a firefighter. His father was a firefighter, his little brother was a firefighter, his uncle was a firefighter, his other uncle was a priest, and his other uncle, my father, was a police officer. Tommy did what he loved doing, and he died doing it, but he loved it and he served, and that's what we did. And we're all proud of him. My brother Bob and I, who were raised with him, miss him like crazy. Thank you.
And my brother, John Christopher Henwood. Happy belated 50th birthday, John. Your son Alejandro, your daughter Claudia, your wife Concha, mom and dad, Dave, Catherine, Tara, and I, and all your nieces and nephews, Daniel, Rachel, Julia, Megan, Anders, Fiona, Aiden, Benjamin, and little Cecilia. We all still grieve for you. We all miss you and love you very much. You made us laugh, and you lifted us every day, and we miss you. God bless you.
Thomas F. Thurkoff, Jr.
Leslie Ann Thomas.
Brian Thomas Thompson.
Cleve Ian Thompson.
Glenn Thompson.
Nigel Bruce Thompson.
Perry A. Thompson.
Banava Alexi Thompson.
William H. Thompson.
Eric Raymond Thorpe.
Nicola Angela Thorpe.
Tamara C. Thurman.
Sal Edward Thierry, Jr.
John Patrick Cherney.
Mary Ellen Tiesi.
William Randolph Tisti.
Kenneth Tejan.
Stephen Edward Tige.
Scott Charles Timmis.
Michael E. Tenley.
Jennifer M. Tino.
Robert Frank Tipaldi.
John James Tipping II.
David Tirado.
Hector Louis Tadaro, Jr.
Michelle Lee Titulo.
Alicia Nicole Titus.
John G. Tobin.
Richard J. Tedesco.
Otis V. Talbert.
Vladimir Tomasevic,
Stephen Kevin Samsit,
Thomas Tong,
Doris Torres,
Luis Eduardo Torres,
Amy Elizabeth Tuyen,
Christopher Michael Trena,
Daniel Patrick Trant,
Abdul Karen Trower,
Glenn J. Travers Sr.,
Walter Philip Travers,
Felicia Yvette Trilor Bass,
James Anthony Trentini,
Mary Barbara Trentini,
Lisa L. Trotola,
Caramo Baba Chera,
Michael Angel Trinidad,
Francis Joseph Trombino,
Gregory James Trost,
Willie Q. Troy,
William P. Tesepoulos Jr.,
Zanita Valentinovna Choi,
Michael Patrick Tucker,
Lance Richard Tumulty,
Ching Ping Tung,
Simon James Turner,
Donald Joseph Tuzio,
Robert T. Twani,
Jennifer Lynn Zemas,
John G. Yodsover,
and my father, Edward F. Pullis. I love and miss you dearly, and I wish I was able to spend more time with you, but I know you're up in heaven watching over me.
And my lovely niece, Judy Hazel Santillan Fernandez. We love and miss you so much, our beautiful darling Judy. At age 27, your spirit and love lives on, especially to your parents, Cora and Lito, and your sister Emma and Brad Richard and their families. May you and all who lost their lives here will never be forgotten and forever cherished in our hearts. God bless us all. Peace and goodwill to us in all the earth. We pray that to make this world a happy place to live on. God bless America.
Tyler Victor Ugalon,
Michael A. Giuliano,
Jonathan J. Uman,
Anil Shivari Umakar,
Alan V. Upton,
Diane Marie Urban,
John Damon Vacaccio,
Bradley Hodges Vadas,
William Valcasel,
Felix Antonio Vale,
Ivan Vale,
Benito Valentin,
Santos Valentin Jr.,
Carlton Francis Valvo II,
Pendiala Vamar Krishna,
Erica H. Van Ackler,
Kenneth W. Van Auken,
R. Bruce Van Hine,
Daniel M. Van Leer,
Edward Raymond Vanacore,
John Charles Vandavander,
Frederick T. Varachi,
Golapa Christian Varadun,
David Vargas,
Scott C. Vassal,
Aziel Ishamel Vasquez,
Ronald J. Volk,
Archangel Vasquez,
Santos Vasquez,
Peter Vega,
Sankare Sastre Velamura,
Jorge Velasquez,
Lawrence G. Velling,
Anthony Mark Ventura,
David Vera,
Loretta Ann Vero,
Christopher James Vialonga,
Matthew Gilbert Viana,
Robert Anthony Vicario,
Celeste Torres Victoria,
Joanna Vidal,
John T. Vigiano II,
Joseph Vincent Vigiano,
Frank J. Vignola Jr.,
Joseph Barry Villardo,
Clarabelle Villalobos Hernandez,
Sergio Gabriel Villanueva,
Chantel Vincelli,
Melissa Renee Vincent.
Francine Ann Virgilio.
Lawrence Virgilio.
Joseph Gerard Viciano.
Joshua S. Vitale.
Maria Percoco Vola.
Lynette D. Vosky.
Garo H. Boscajon.
Alfred Anton Bukasa.
Gregory Kamal Bruno Wackler.
Karen J. Wagner.
Mary Alice Wallstrom.
And my nephew, Robert Louis Scandoli. Rob, your wife Sheila, your beautiful girls Emma and Katie, your parents Bob and Peggy, your brother Chris, your sister-in-laws, all your aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, and friends, love and miss you every day. Rob, you would be so proud of your family. We still have the Scandoli fake Christmas every year. You were the one who told your mom it doesn't matter when we celebrate, just that we celebrate as a family together. And to the 3,000 other souls lost that day, we want you to know, no matter what, race, religion, nationality, gender, all your lives mattered. God bless all our first responders. God bless our men and women in the armed service. God bless America.
And for my nephew, firefighter Kevin Michael Pryor, Squad 252. It's been 15 years, and still it doesn't seem like it was that long. And on that day, we lost a big part of our heart. You were always the life of the party. Your smile lit up our room, and your enthusiasm was just something unbelievable. Your parents miss you terribly. They love you. The rest of the family does. We think of you all the time. We feel your presence with us. We will never forget.
Honor Elizabeth Juanillo.
Gabriella Silvina Wasman.
Wendy Alice Rosario Wakeford.
Courtney Wainsworth Walcott.
Victor Wald.
Kenneth E. Waldy.
Benjamin James Walker.
Glenn Wall.
Mitchell Scott Wallace.
Peter Guider Wallace.
Robert Francis Wallace.
Roy Michael Wallace.
Jean Marie Wallendorf.
Matthew Blake Wallens.
Meta L. Waller.
John Wallace Jr.
Barbara P. Walsh.
Jim Walsh.
Jeffrey P. Walls.
Ching Wang.
Weibin Wang.
Michael Warcola.
Stephen Gordon Ward.
Timothy Ray Ward.
James A. Waring.
Brian G. Warner.
Derek Christopher Washington.
Charles Waters.
James Thomas Waters, Jr.
Patrick J. Waters.
Kenneth Thomas Watson.
Michael Henry Way.
Todd Christopher Weaver.
Walter Edward Weaver.
Nathaniel Webb.
Dina Webster.
William Michael Weems.
Joanne Flora Weil.
Michael T. Weinberg.
Stephen Weinberg.
Scott Jeffrey Weingard.
Stephen George Weinstein.
Simon Weiser.
David M. Weiss.
David Thomas Weiss.
Chin Sun Pak Wells.
Vincent Michael Wells.
Deborah Jacobs Welsh.
Timothy Matthew Welty.
Christian Hans Rudolph Wemmers.
Sue Wee Wen.
John Joseph Winkus.
Ola D. Wangerchuk.
Peter M. West.
Whitfield West, Jr.
Meredith Lynn Whalen.
Eugene Michael Whelan.
Adam S. White.
Edward James White III.
James Patrick White.
And my uncle and godfather, Sean Caton, love you and miss you every day.
and my sister, Deborah Lynn Gibbon, and my best friend. We love you. We never forget you. Thank you for being our guardian angel, and thanks for that rainbow we saw in the reflecting pool this morning.
John Sylvester White.
Kenneth Wilburn White, Jr.
Leonard Anthony White.
Melissa Y. White.
Maudlin A. White.
Sandra L. White.
Wayne White.
Leanne Marie Whiteside.
Firefighter Mark P. Whitford, FDNY.
Leslie A. Whittington.
Police Officer Michael T. Hooley, Port Authority.
Mary Lenz Wyman.
Jeffrey David Weiner.
William J. Wick.
Allison Marie Wildman.
Glenn E. Wilkinson.
Ernest M. Wilshire.
John Charles Willett.
Brian Patrick Williams.
Candace Lee Williams.
Crossley Richard Williams, Jr.
David J. Williams.
David Lucian Williams.
Debbie L. Williams.
Dwayne Williams.
Kevin Michael Williams.
Louis Anthony Williams.
Louis Calvin Williams III.
Battalion Chief John P. Williamson, FDNY.
Donna Ann Wilson.
William Eben Wilson.
David Harold Winton.
Glenn J. Winnock.
Thomas Francis Wise.
Alan L. Wisniewski.
Frank Paul Wisniewski.
David Wiswall.
Sigrid Charlotte Weiss.
Michael R. Wittenstein.
Christopher J. Wodenchek.
Martin Phillips Wolforth.
Catherine Susan Wolf.
Jennifer Yen Wong.
Su Chung Steve Wong.
Yin Ping Wong.
Yuk Ping Wong.
Brent James Woodall.
James John Woods.
Marvin Roger Woods.
Patrick J. Woods.
Richard Heron Woodwell.
David Terrence Woolley.
John Bentley Works.
Martin Michael Wortley.
Rodney James Watton.
William Wren, retired.
John W. Wright, Jr.
Neil Robin Wright.
Sandra Lee Wright.
Jupiter Yambem.
Port Authority, Paul Juergens. And my brother, Thomas Edward Juergens, from the New York State Senior Court Officer. The whole family misses you, and although you never met my wife or your nephews, Jack, Charlie, Ethan, your heroic actions in life are spoken of often. Your life is memorialized by ours. We love you eternally.
And my mother, Catherine Ellen Charles. I will continue to work at the 9/11 Memorial with you in my heart, and I will try to spread the same love and compassion that you showed during your life.
John D. Yamnicki, Sr.
Suresh Yana Malda.
Vicky Yancey.
Shuyin Yang.
Matthew David Yarnell.
Myrna Yasoka.
Shakila Yasmin.
Olabishi Sadi. Leani Yi.
Kevin W. Yoakum.
Edward P. York.
Kevin Patrick York.
Raymond R. York.
Suzanne Martha Humans.
Barrington Leroy Young, Jr.
Donald MacArthur Young.
Edmund
G. Young, Jr.
Jacqueline Young.
Lisa L. Young.
Elkin Ewan.
Joseph Z. Zaccoli.
Adele Agabi Zachary.
Arkady Zaltzman.
Edwin J. Zambrana Jr.
Robert Allen Zampiri.
Mark Zangrilla.
Christopher R. Zarba, Jr.
Ira Zaslow.
Kenneth Albert Zellman.
Abraham J. Zelmanowitz.
Martin Morales Zempalal Tekatel.
J. Jeng.
Mark Scott Zeppelin.
J. Yao Justin Zhao.
Yu Guan Zhang.
Evelyn Zeminski.
Michael Joseph Zinzi.
Charles Allen Zion.
Julie Lynn Zipper.
Salvatore J. Zisa.
Prokopios Paul Zois.
Joseph J. Zucala.
Andrew Stephen Zucker.
Igor Zuckelman.
And my godfather, my hero, my uncle, firefighter Gregory T. Saucedo. I apologize if I mispronounced anybody's name, but my uncle, you will never be forgotten. I love you.
And my godfather and uncle, Richard S. Gabriel. On behalf of all of my family, we will never, ever forget you. And this day is sacred to me, and it always will be. I want to especially thank all of the firefighters and other first responders, because for a long time we thought he died alone. But we later learned that firefighter Ronald Buca and Battalion Chief Oreo Palmer reached him on the 78th floor. And I have a special place in my heart for first responders, not just because my brother David is a firefighter, but because first responders and their families do so much. So thank you.
Terrence Edward Adderley Jr.
John Paul Bocci.
Yvonne Lucia Bonomo.
Sean Booker Sr.
Kelly Ann Booms.
Canfield D. Boone.
Mary Jane Booth.
Kevin L. Bowser.
Marion R. Britton.
Patrick John Brown.
Richard George Brewer.
Kenneth John Cubis.
Vincent Gallucci.
Michael Gahn.
Charles William Garbarini.
Thomas J. Hetzel.
Stephen N. Highland Jr.
Lindsay Stapleton Morehouse.
Peter Allen Nelson.
Brian Edward Sweeney. And to my cousin, Port Authority Police Officer David P. Lamagne, there is not a day that goes by that our family does not think about you. We love you.
John T. Schroeder. And to my brother William H. Kelly Jr., may his kindness to all be an example to live by. If you were a stranger, he treated you like a friend. If you were a friend, he treated you like the family. Let us all treat each other as family.
15 years later, we will never forget. We've been listening to the reading of the names of those killed on 9/11.
You've been watching CBS 2 special coverage of the 9/11 commemoration ceremony. We now go to NFL Today coverage.